What's up?
What's up, bro? How we doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Not bad. How you holding up?
I'm fine. This is pretty much normal for me, except the kids are home from school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, just kind of staying in my bubble.
Okay. You like this shirt or what?
What the fuck?
I had to rep it.
That's good. I respect that. That's good.
I'm gonna just figure something out real quick because I was charging my phone here before I start. I'm gonna record it in a little bit. In like 5 seconds, I'm gonna press the record button.
Okay,
So
cool.
try to hopefully put it up on YouTube. We'll probably go to like maybe 12:30, 12:35, right?
That's
All right,
fine.
cool.
Whatever works for you, man.
Cool. And then, all right, let me start it up.
Virtual meals.
What?
We'll order food and sit here and have lunch together.
Exactly.
That's what we're going to be reduced to here soon.
I'll give you some of my coffee and you can sip it, All right, we are live. We are with Coach Nate Harvey from Elite FTS. Nate, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for supporting the cause and, being there, even for me as a young lifter, and helping me with any questions I have. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate it. It goes both ways, man. The stuff you're doing with your gym, I'm really behind. I've always my old man's a Vietnam veteran, so kind of veterans and first responders, I kind of lump you guys in together. So, the stuff you're doing, I really respect and appreciate what you're doing. So we're glad to be a part of it any way we can.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So now there are first responders in here. Some people might not know what Elite FTS is, and some people they don't know who you are. So if you want to just do a little quick background about who you are.
Well, okay. Let's start with Elite FTS. Elite FTS started in 1998, I believe. Kind of started out, our president Dave basically selling like chalk and small lifting stuff out of a spare bedroom in his house. It's kind of blown up to what it is now.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like now we outfit gyms, install training equipment, all sorts of stuff, home gyms. But we also do, like, a big part of Dave's kind of setup and his mission is passing forward information. So we have a ton of free information on our site, and the way we support that is by selling the equipment. So all the information and stuff we put out, you can say we make a little bit because, that helps with customers and stuff, but honestly, it's kind of a cost to the company. So we kind of support that by selling all of our equipment stuff. So, and I started reading the site probably around 99 or 2000. So pretty much from the start,
Man,
just trying to get stronger.
That was the year I was born. No, I'm kidding.
What the fuck?
92. So you were probably, what were you in 92? Were you coaching at Buffalo or were you powerlifting?
92, I was in middle school-ish.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I was born in 78.
You're a lot younger than that. That's my fault. I said probably.
No, the beard is deceiving. I got 3 fucking kids running around. This beard was all black about 4 years ago.
Yeah, you're only like 15 years older than me.
Yeah, okay.
So you played college football.
Yep.
And where'd you play?
Brockport.
Brockport,
We beat Cortland every year I was there. Side note.
That's the opposite when I was there.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. So after you played college football, that so you stopped, let's say you graduated college, and then what happened from there on out? More of like, let's talk about the lifting wise and your mentality. And after college football, did you feel a little lost? Because I know myself, when I stopped playing football in high school, and that's why I went to play college football again, I felt I had lost a part of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always we had a few guys on our team that power lifted, and they were really freaking strong, and so I kind of got my interest going in what powerlifting was and stuff. I just couldn't do it while I was playing, but I always kind of knew, when I was done playing, I would like to kind of figure it out and get into it a little bit. But I didn't do my first meet until I was 30, like early 30s. Like
Oh,
it was
wow.
like 2007. I think I did my first meet. It was just a push-pull meet. But yeah, like being done with football was a rough time. Looking back and knowing what I know now, I probably should have been talking to someone or maybe medication or, because it was like.
So you're saying you're not, admittedly that you got a little depressed, maybe not a full-on depression, but you felt a little lonely.
Yeah, because it was it'd been like a huge part of my identity since I was, a middle schooler, and like to me, like I know it was only Division III football, but I treated it like it was NFL. You know what I mean? Like I might have drank like 5 times while I was in college, just because I knew I was going to feel like shit for 2-3 days after. You know what I mean? And I felt like if I was going to, give the rest of the guys the best of what I had, I couldn't be doing that shit. You know what I mean? It was good that I thought like that, because I was always I always felt like I wasn't going to be good enough. You know what I mean? So that pushes you to work harder. But I mean, like I hardly went out in college and drank and stuff. And then, when football was over, I kind of, like you said, I didn't know what to do. And there's like I didn't get into drinking much after football either, but I can see how people get into that very easily for sure.
Well, that's funny you say that. There's 2 things I want to hit from what you just said. One is an identity. So you basically had a self-identity with football. You kind of like married it more kind of like a family member or a girlfriend. And after you stopped playing football, you kind of got depressed. We don't know, how depressed, but that happens a lot with first responders and military, right? Like you marry the job, you get so used to the job, and then you retire or you come home from, you're a veteran, and now, you don't know what the hell to do with yourself. And it's almost the same. It's basically the same thing, and then you can start self-medicating because you have no idea what to do, drinking, drugging, whatever it is, or just not really doing anything with your life and getting in your own thoughts. So it's crazy you said that. And now talking about alcohol, let's talk about it real quick from like a training standpoint. Like, I mean, we know it's poison for the mind and the body, but I don't think people really understand, especially for training, like a bodybuilder or a powerlifter, or even like talk about training, how it really affects the body.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know the exact science behind it, and everybody's different. A lot of it goes back to genetics. I'm sure there's some people that can drink 3-4 nights a week and still perform at a high level. You know what I mean? But then you got to think, what could they do if they didn't do that 3-4 nights a week?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's definitely a huge detriment. There's mental, there's physical. It's like you said, it's a poison. So when you're drinking, you're putting a huge tax on your body.
And,
even if you can still go in and hit numbers similar the next day or whatever, over the course of a long time, that's really going to wear on you.
Oh, 100%. And that's what it is. It's over time. It's funny you said that because, when I was doing powerlifting, I'm for the 181 class, I wasn't anything crazy, but, I was drinking on the weekends, but I was still close to 600 pull, which is way over triple body weight. And then, 450 to 460 squat and benching 320 at 180. So now I'm looking at, wow, I always say to myself, I don't believe in regrets, but learning experience. If I didn't drink for those 5 years, on the weekends, what could have happened? Because then you realize how it affects the day after, the 2 days after training, your meals that you miss, the meals that you don't eat, you're dehydrated, you get a little anxious. So all that stuff adds up. And now it's not just one weekend, it's 5 years of weekends, which probably adds up to, I don't know, I didn't do the math, but let's just say a half a year, right? Another maybe full year, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's huge. And that's what training is. Like, we all know this. It's the very small doses of training and nutrition and all that stuff that adds up over time. What is it? The sum of the parts are greater than the whole. Like, that's training. You know what I mean? And you take all those, at the end of that 5-year cycle, you screwed yourself out of maybe 2-3 solid months of work and recovery that you could have done is just kind of down the toilet. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's key. You could have if you look at it like that, and you start adding up the days and the weekends, it can come up to who knows and what you could do, right? Not even in the weight room, but also mentally. And when I stopped drinking, I realized that my thoughts were a lot more positive, and I'm not wasting my time thinking about feeling guilty or feeling tired. Now I'm thinking about different positive things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Someone wrote burpees over alcohol. I think Nate would probably rather drink than do burpees. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably. But it's funny you mentioned that, like the anxiety thing. Like I'll have a couple drinks once in a while, you know, on a Friday night or whatever. And my buddy was talking to me in the gym the other day. He's like, dude, I get like super anxious the day after I drink. You know what I mean? And after he said that, like I started realizing like, yeah, same thing, like kind of like uneasy feel, like I don't know what it is, but it's not cool.
No, it's not, and it increases anxiety and it increases panic attacks. And if you already are a little depressed, I mean, it's going to feed that depression. You know what I mean? It's like you're adding gains to your depression instead of adding bands and chains to increase your 1 rep max. You're adding it to your depression or your psyche, which is true in my opinion.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It just piles on. And you don't notice. It's going to pile on and kind of add up over time. And then when you slowly work into stuff like that, you don't realize how shitty you're feeling. You know what I mean? Until you've actually finally come, like it becomes your normal. You know what I mean? So you really don't even realize it until like you actually stop doing that shit and pull yourself out of it. And you're like, I was really fucked up.
It's funny you say that because no one really knows they're an addict until they try to quit something. I heard that, and I love that saying. And addiction more when you think you're numbing depression. Adding more when you think you're at it. Yeah, exactly, Ruth. Yeah, no, that's definitely. But like, not even like Nate. The drinking affects the muscles, the brain, and also the nervous system. So that recovery time of maybe when you go and you hit a max deadlift and you hit a PR, then you drink for 2 days. That might add another day or two of recovery to really your full nervous system.
Yeah, that's what, and that's like we don't know. We're starting to learn more about the nervous system, but we really don't know. I don't think we know the true effects, but like, the next day after, your brain is just like you talked about your thoughts. It's amazing how much more productive you are when you don't have that in your system. Like the day after you go, like you're not getting anything done.
Oh, no way.
And then if like I know how you're wired, so you're not getting stuff done, then you're starting to think, oh shit, I should be getting stuff done, but you're not. So then there's like more anxiety just piling on. Like, oh, I gotta get the shit done.
And then let me just have another drink to calm that anxiety, right? It's like a wheel.
Yeah, get a shot. We'll be good to go.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we just touched on drinking a little bit. So now, more of like a tactical standpoint, I guess, training for first responders. I did the interview with Josh Bryan from Jailhouse Strong, which was great. Now, I hear a lot of like first responders, they don't have enough time, to lift. They don't have, because they also have families. Most of them do. And the hours are pretty draining because it's not like you're going in and doing the same thing every day. It's which I love the job is because it's always different. But you don't know what you're going to come across. You don't know how tired you're going to feel physically and mentally draining. There might be a day where you have 4 or 5 family disputes in a row. Then you go home and you're having a family dispute with your girlfriend or your wife, and it's just like, holy shit, So it's like, if you have 20 to 30 minutes of training, what would you recommend to a first responder to kind of the way they should go? Because, we were talking with Josh, like, if you do a 5x5 bench, that could take, 4 minutes in between sets. That could take 20 minutes right there, or a 5x5 deadlift. That's going to take longer. So, would you recommend to hit one of the big threes maybe at like 60, 70%, and then more like a conditioning workout? Because you don't want to, I guess, also tire yourself out to the point where it's going to affect your job performance. And that's what we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah. I hate to even talk on this stuff because I'm not in it and doing it. So I talk about this very cautiously. I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm the expert because I'm not.
Yeah, right.
I'm not doing the job and I don't have to deal with all that stuff. I would say, like, depending on where they're at, like if they're have done nothing, find something you like to do. So it's something you're gonna like. Yes, I think it's great to squat and bench and deadlift, but if you don't like doing that, find exercises you actually like and you're gonna look forward to like going and doing. And like assuming they're at a very low level too, like um, even if you're doing 2 workouts a week and it's kind of sporadic, like one week it's Monday, Wednesday, and the next week it's Thursday, Saturday, you can fit it in. That's going to help you. You know what I mean? My wife's an assistant principal. She just started a new job this year, and she's super busy. But, you know, she's kind of been going to the gym when she can fit it in, and I can tell a huge difference just in her mood and everything else, you know, and she's getting in better shape and feels better. So, you know, if not, just fit it in. Even if it's 2 20, 30-minute workouts a week, just get it in. Kind of thinking on specific things to do. You know, you can, of course, I'm going to tout conjugate because I'm a nut swinger. But like, you could go warm up, get speed squats in, 10 sets of 2, short rest periods, and then superset your accessory stuff and be out of there in 45 minutes.
Right. Or
You
even
know what
less,
I mean?
right? Even less, maybe 30 minutes. 30.
Yeah.
Once you start doing it a few times, you get the grit, you get the grasp of it, and then you'll be able to, like you said, make it work for you, doing that extra anxiety. And, you know, mentally, you're doing things that you enjoy, and work, you know, doing any type of strength training, conditioning work, it's not gonna really be a negative effect in the start. It's gonna help you mentally. That's what we're also looking for, to push that mind, like what you and me talked about. So when you're out on the streets or something happens, then you're kind of ready. You are ready, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, to go even further, like you could even do heavy stuff. Just cut your rest periods down. You know, you're not a power lifter. It's not super important that you take 5-10 minutes between each set or whatever. You know, if you lift a little bit less weight because you're pushing the pace a little bit, that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? I think, like we talk about the stress and the mental health stuff. I think that's a bigger aspect for you guys than having a 400-pound squat as opposed to a 360-pound squat. You know what I mean? And just by doing that, all the strength is going to raise. You're going to have less injuries. You're going to have less medical costs on your company's insurance and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's going to help all around. But yeah, just like try to find something you like. Let it be something you look forward to. Joe Rogan talks about like we're a battery. Like we got to run all the juice out. Otherwise, you get all that shit and you want to pop.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you got to go get that shit out of you somehow.
Exactly. And that's, again, you want to pop, and that's anxiety and depression that wants to just come out. You know what I mean? Right? All that, and we got to grow, right, as a human. So we can't just let our growth sit around and do nothing.
Yes, absolutely. And it's you're like what you guys deal with is too much mental. There's too much mental You know, it's no one is designed to handle that job. You know what I mean? Like, it's not you. no one's you. They say you know what you signed up for. Bullshit. No one is designed to handle that for 30, 40 years. Like, I don't understand it. About football practice and training, and kind of like, if you're going to go play a football game on Saturday, would you play 3 games in the 3 consecutive days leading up to that game and expect to be ready? No. So why do we do the same thing with training and just constantly kick the shit out of our kids? So like with deadlift training, kind of depending on what system you're running, if it's more of a linear thing or kind of like Jim does 5-3 percentages or whatever, you don't need to do heavy triples, doubles, and singles all the time. Save it for when you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just going to wear you down. Most people are not very good at deadlifting, so you're going to probably build up small micro trauma over time and kind of beat your body up, your back, whatever. That's why I like conjugate stuff, because you can go in and you can deadlift every week. You're using lighter percentages, so you can work on your technique, move the bar as fast as you can. You're building strength and force reduction. And then maybe once a month or so, do
mental
like a
toughness
variation to kind of get that heavy stuff in.
Now, that's great that you hit that about the deadlift, because for my high school kids, I also don't feel comfortable. You only get an hour and a half to train with them, but just to teach a deadlift setup could take a long time. So it's like, I feel a lot more comfortable using the hex bar variation, especially for freshmen, JV kids, maybe even juniors, until every athlete is different. But would you agree on that hex bar variation, especially for 15, 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids?
Yeah. So there's no rule that everybody has to deadlift. So part of the reason that they can't get in a good position to deadlift, part of that problem is they're not strong enough. So do easier things that will help get them strong enough to be able to deadlift. So whether that's hex bar, whether it's glute ham raises, whether it's, whatever, back extension, lunges, whatever it takes, use those things to get them ready to deadlift.
Exactly. And the same thing for a squat, because some kids aren't going to be able to perform a full squat with weight on their back without the heels coming up or their knees caving in or their back, their upper back not staying tight. So that's why I do like the box squat also for a lot of my athletes, because they're at least able, I think it's a better range of motion than a regular squat, safety wise. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Absolutely, it's simpler, and you can get the same results. That's why I used it. We got the same results. Kids got better. Injuries went down, and anybody can do it.
Right, and the same thing with
over
the
the course of 10. What's that?
The same thing with the boxes. You can work on a high box, and then you can slowly work your way down on a normal box, low box, and play around with it.
Yes, absolutely. You meet them where they're at, and you can start getting training results from day one, instead of spending 4 weeks wanting to punch yourself in the face because they can't figure out a free squat.
Yep.
We talked about stress and fucking wanting to drink. Go teach a room full of 30 kids.
I know. I just
how to squat.
Yep. And what's your opinion on high school kids power clean, hang clean, maybe just front squat? I mean, there's again, the hang cleans, the full power clean off the floor, kind of, it looks like maybe they're a puppet trying to pull the strings, and they, it's hard because you don't want them to get hurt. You don't want them also to affect their mental psyche. Wow, I can't do this, and maybe a kid next to me is doing it. So what's your take on like a power clean, a hang clean, or maybe just a simple front squat?
Like power clean, hang. I'm not an advocate of the Olympic stuff. I think there's much easier things you can do to get the same results with less wear and tear on the athlete's body. The only time I did it when we were coaching was when a sport coach kind of demanded that we do it. So I would put it in there to, try to keep everybody happy, but otherwise it's not necessary. Especially for athletes. It's not.
Right. I mean, you could do a front squat, or even if you're in college or you have the safety bar squat, right? And then you do a few reps with that, and then you can superset that with a box jump or something different variation instead of doing like a full power clean. You're still hitting the same muscle. Then by box jumping, you're trying to build on that explosiveness. Something
Exactly.
like that, right? That would make perfect sense.
Yeah, and not to get too technical, but everybody says we're doing power cleans to make our kids more explosive. Well, true explosive strength, a power clean is too heavy to actually develop that. Like explosive strength is jumps and sprints. So we can't, you know what I mean? We say we're doing one thing, but we're not actually doing why we say we're doing that exercise. But that's all, you know what I mean? It's
right. I would feel it way more instead of doing a 90% power clean for one, maybe two. If I do 5 box jumps into 5 kettlebell swings with a band. So now my glutes and my hamstrings are really firing, and you have to be explosive to fight through that band. And it's something like that.
Yes, exactly. And it's simpler.
It is.
Your kids are there to play their sport. They don't give them simple weight room stuff.
Especially at that age. I mean, just teaching just with the offensive linemen and when to pull, when not to pull. That's enough for them to just understand.
You're just you talking about it. I'm seeing all the stuff go wrong that I know they're doing.
Yeah,
because it's the same everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yep, it's funny, and it's why do you pull right when you have to completely play was to the left? It's like, oh, I thought this was a trap play or a sweep. It's just it is a lot, especially for football athletes, because it's all play calls. It's not like baseball and basketball where you're not calling plays every other time.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like sport coaches will want like a super fancy, complicated training routine. And I kind of always think, don't you want your kids to have more gas in the tank and more ability to think when they're doing their sport, not waste that in the weight room? Keep the shit simple in the weight room, and then so they got more gas in the tank when you go to play your sport, because ultimately that's what matters.
Keep it simple enough where they don't get hurt and they build that mental toughness and that confidence. Because once they build confidence in the weight room that they're doing it right and they're learning, then they're going to feel more confident on the field and performance and learning plays and everything.
Yeah, and that just comes with training. You're going to get stronger. You're going to feel better. So that stuff will all take care of itself.
Yeah, that was keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah. For sure.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate. I'm gonna head out. I'm leaving for work in about an hour, so some of us got to do it, right? So
That's right.
Thank you, Nate.
We're
thanks,
glad
man.
you do, man. I know I couldn't do that shit, so I'm glad somebody does.
Oh, thanks, man. You could do it. If you or me in the car, we'd be laughing all day.
Maybe we'll do it and do a reality show. We'll make a movie.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll be the bumbling police partner.
Yeah, you're the guy with 20 years on, man, that complains all the time. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Paul Blart. I'll be the ball cop.
No. So thank you, man. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate Elite FTS, and thank you so much. Stay safe out there.
Same to you, man.
Stay strong.
Always.
Rock and roll, baby. Have a good day, all right?
All right, dude.
All right,
Appreciate it. Thank you,
man. No problem. Thank you, man.